Hello everyone, I'm Sean,
This is Hoon?
and we are the Courageour Frights, back once again for another movie review.
Yes.
This time we're covering The Boogeyman.
Yes, the Boogeyman.
So this is the latest horror film to come out in theaters. It's an adaptation of a short story by Stephen King.
I think it was in association with the energy companies of America as well.
It's a cautionary tale
Yeah,
about paying your electric bill on time.
pay your electric bill and turning your lights on.
Yes. So The Boogeyman initially was a short story by Stephen King. And by that, I mean a true short story. It's only about a dozen pages long.
Yeah.
Normally, a short story for Stephen King is about 400 to 500 pages.
Yeah.
This one actually is a short story. You can actually listen to several people on YouTube read the story, and each video is like less than half an hour.
That's surprising.
It's shocking for Stephen King. However, it first was published in March 1973 in an issue of Cavalier magazine, whatever that is.
Cavalier magazine?
I don't know what that is.
That like Boys Life magazine, like those,
Man's Life.
Yeah, Man's Life or
It's
Adventure
one
Life.
One of those Man's Life magazines from the 40s where
Yeah.
guys like fist fighting crabs on a beach.
Yeah, exactly.
So what? I'm not sure what Cavalier magazine in the year 2023. I don't think we have Cavalier magazine. But 50 years ago, actually almost 50 years ago to the day,
Yeah.
to the month. It's actually a little bit past it, but this was published in Cavalier magazine. It was later included in Stephen King's 1978 collection Night Shift. So it was re-released. And we could briefly talk about the book. I listened to a little bit of this audiobook. I've read a synopsis on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to actually track down the full thing at some point.
Yeah.
Or just listen to the full thing. I listened to the first 5 minutes, which is, I think, about the same as the filmmakers.
Yeah, probably, because according to the book, it's very similar to, like, that first part is, like, the same thing.
Yeah.
And then it deviates from there.
So in the book, the main character is Lester Billings, who in the movie's played by Polka Dot Man,
Yes.
David Dastmalchian. And in the story, he comes to a psychiatrist, Dr. Harper, and he famously in the story, at least in my mind, it's a famous quote, where he says, "I can't go to a priest because I'm not Catholic. I can't go to a lawyer because I haven't committed a crime. All I've done is kill my kids."
Yes.
You mean you murdered your kids? And he's like, "No, but I killed them."
Yeah.
And he's like, "But that's what murder means."
Yes.
But anyway, that quote apparently stuck in my mind. It must have stuck in the filmmakers' minds because that is directly used in the film.
Yeah, that's like the first. I think like that might be the first, or maybe the second quote in the movie.
Well, yeah, it takes a little while to get to that point because
They're trying to explain a little bit of
the movie does this stuff about the psychiatrist's family and stuff.
Actually, the first scene of the movie is showing kind of. There's a part in the book that's, I think, where the kid's like dying.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's like that's the very first scene in the movie.
Very first scene in the movie is Billings' kid dying.
Yeah, like the baby's in the crib or something.
Right, and then it cuts to the family and the family of the psychiatrist and him like taking his kids to school and like all that kind of stuff. And then Lester, the unlikely, comes walking in, gives
like
his
creepily.
creepily walks in as David Dastmalchian often does.
Yes.
And I feel like David Dastmalchian may be actually getting more roles in the future because he's kind of like an older, more stable Ezra Miller.
Yeah, he does kind of have.
So,
and
he's very flamboyant in real life and kind of does like the crazy stunts that Ezra does, but he doesn't terrorize the populace. So he may be getting more of those roles that would have gone to him.
Yeah. And that's one thing with, like, I don't even know how to say his name, but Polka Dot Man.
Polka Dot Man, yeah.
Like, he has that certain look that's like, okay, you can put him in specific roles because of the way he looks.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's a really nice guy in real life,
Yeah.
but he does have, like, this kind of creepy demeanor
Yeah,
about
he has,
him.
like, that look that just, you could tell it's like, that's him, basically.
Yeah. You can't affect it how you look.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's a great guy.
Yeah.
And as far as I've never heard anything bad.
Yeah,
about
I think
him,
a lot of people. It sounds like a lot of people do like him. I mean,
yeah.
he's worked on like Ant-Man and everything else.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that should have been in the Ant-Man 3.
Yeah, he should have been.
Wasn't. Him and Michael Pena should have been.
Yeah, they were big parts of the movies.
They were some of the best parts.
Yeah,
they
took
them
them
completely out. But anyway, in the Boogeyman, he actually just plays a small role.
Yeah, he's very small.
Which is weird because he plays the main character from the short story.
Yeah.
But the initial encounter in the psychiatrist's office, which is basically the entire short story,
yeah,
is a minor footnote, but it's actually what causes everything, because I think the Boogeyman, basic idea is the Boogeyman attached himself to his children,
yeah,
and then to him, and then when he went to the psychiatrist's house and pulled the ultimate dick move of killing himself in the guy's office, like upstairs studio closet,
while like creepily walking around his house. It was like really weird,
because it's always a good idea to go to somebody else's house to kill yourself. That deviates greatly from the short story.
Yeah,
because that never happens in a short story.
No,
the whole thing is about Billings talking to the psychiatrist about his kids being killed by this unseen entity.
Yeah,
the Boogerman.
Yeah,
the Boogeyman. And that's basically it. That's the whole short story.
That's probably a good idea, because that Lester guy from the short story sounds like an asshole.
Oh, yeah, he's
like a racist guy.
Yeah, well, he's a typical Stephen King character.
Oh, yeah.
So if you never actually read a Stephen King story, his protagonists are, like, notoriously unlikable.
Yeah, they're, like, horrible people.
They're racist, they're misogynist, they're, like, all the dregs of society.
Yeah.
All
into one.
Yeah, pretty much. This guy breaks the mold because he's not actually from Maine, he's from Connecticut.
Yes.
So, I don't know, this is so early in King's writing that maybe at one point he had planned to incorporate all of New England, and then he just decided to do solely Maine for the rest of his career. But in this case, he's from Connecticut. And, that's basically it. And the big twist at the end is, I guess, spoilers for anyone who wanted to read this short story. The psychiatrist doesn't actually exist, and he's actually a disguise of the Boogeyman.
Yeah.
And that's the big surprise,
Yeah.
which they almost do in the movie. But then they don't. Because she's we'll talk about it, but spoilers again.
Yeah.
The lead, the daughter is they're walking out of having a psychiatrist session with a different psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And as the older daughter is leaving, all of a sudden the voice of that psychiatrist calls out to her and is like, "Oh, can I speak to you for a minute?" And she comes back inside, and then the door's like ajar.
Yeah, like the closet or whatever.
And then she comes walking around the corner and is like, "Oh, can I help you?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?"
Yeah. It's like, I thought you left.
Yeah. So the Boogeyman is like impersonating her.
Which is kind of an interesting concept.
Right. Whereas it fully was using the guy's image and everything else in the short story. So anyway, that's the short story. The movie only follows that for like a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then, as we already said, Lester kills himself. And then that, either the act of him killing himself or the act of him just being in the building, causes the Boogeyman to then attach himself to that family.
I think him just being there.
Probably.
Because I think once he got there, you could I think he kept seeing, like, the Boogeyman in the closets and stuff.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if it was, like, Smile or the death, like, transferred. Yeah.
I think at least in the movie, they specifically said trauma and stuff. It kind of like one of those things where it attaches people with trauma, which in the movie, like, I guess the family's mother, like, just died. Like,
yes.
It didn't really explain how quickly, but it sounded like it was pretty recent.
Yeah, like within the week or something.
Yeah.
Because it was like the daughter's first day back since it happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know how much they touch upon this in the short story, but this movie, it's entirely based around, like, trauma and grief. They may have touched on it, because it sounds like in both versions, Lester's first child died of natural causes.
Yeah.
And then that's what opened the family up to the entity, the Boogeyman.
Yeah.
Because it, like most demonic entities or what have you kind of prey on people who are already weak.
Yeah.
Like by trauma or something.
Yeah.
And then in the case of the movie, it preys on this new family, the psychiatrist's family, who don't exist in the short story.
Yeah.
But in this film, it's centered entirely on the psychiatrist and their trauma because his wife just recently passed away.
And he's not really, like, getting help for his own... Like, because they do at the very end, but he, like, doesn't get help. He doesn't get help to, like, overcome that.
Yeah. So it's like their trauma is like an open wound. Yeah. And cause the boogeyman to come right in. It's very similar to the Babadook, if people have seen that. That was an Australian horror film, which was also about trauma. In that case, the death of the husband in a car accident. This was the death of the wife in a car accident. It's entirely likely that they ripped the whole plot off of the Babadook. Sure.
Which, later on, I guess we'll get to it.
So, like, I don't want to go into, like, blow-by-blow description of every scene.
Yeah.
So, but basically, that's kind of the idea. The boogeyman attaches itself to people that are susceptible, and then it, like, hunts you down. It likes to play with its food.
Yeah, because it doesn't outright just kill you.
No, it likes to scare you. It's like Pennywise.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it might be. Probably because it's, like, feeding off your, like, fear or something.
Yeah, it even... There's a part where it tries to feed on the soul of the older daughter, Sadie. And it opens up its mouth really wide, and then these hands, like, pull the mouth open
it's like
further.
Baby hands come out of there.
Yeah, it's almost like a creature from another dimension is almost using it as a vessel to just get around. And then there's this part where it almost, like, lights form in its mouth, and it's like the dead lights or whatever in Pennywise's mouth.
It's almost like something inside of something else. It's, like, really weird looking. It's like...
yeah, it's like a meat sack that has a dimensional portal inside.
It's like if Krang was there, because it had the same type of arms. It was like the weird tentacle arms. I don't know. It was like... it did look pretty good, but one complaint about this movie is it's hard to see anything because it's very dark.
Complaint.
It's very dark.
It looks like Golem.
Yeah, it does kind of...
From the newly released video game classic.
And everyone just hates to turn their lights on?
Yes. So that's a major point. So the boogeyman, just like the real boogeyman, is typically like thwarted by turning on the lights.
Because it's like a shadow monster.
It exists in the dark.
Yeah.
Like in the shadows and stuff. It may use the shadows to even move and stuff like that.
Which this one, it almost had like there's parts in the movie where they have like almost like vines growing out of the walls and stuff. It was like making its own habitat in this place.
Yeah, which is very Stranger Things.
Yeah,
which we should talk about briefly. One of the producers was Sean Levi.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure about the other people attached, but Sean is one of the prominent directors and producers of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
He's directed at least one episode every season. And he's also works extensively with Ryan Reynolds.
So, there you go.
He's the guy that directed like Free Guy, where he brought in some of the cast from Stranger Things and stuff like that. So there is a Stranger Things connection.
It's very Stranger Things, to be honest.
Similar to It, by the way, which had Finn Wolfhard in it.
Yeah, Finn Wolfhard in it.
This doesn't have that strong of a connection, but I do think that may have influenced at least the design of the vines.
The vine design looks very similar, even with them like. This is like a spoiler for the end of the movie here.
Yeah.
But when they burn the monster or whatever, the fire effects look very Stranger Things. It looked like something from.
Yeah.
That. It was like it looked very similar.
The more I think about the fire effects, the creature actually kind of looks like the Demogorgon with a different head.
Yeah. And plus, there's a scene where the one like daughter character.
Yeah.
Had like the Christmas lights, and it's like that's Stranger Things.
Yeah,
like,
she's wrapped up in Christmas lights, which goes back to your original complaint.
Yeah.
So this creature is defeated by light. However, the mother of the first kids who were killed by it in the other house, the wife of David Dastmalchian's character, knows this thing's defeated by light, and yet she chooses to live in total darkness.
Yeah, her whole place is... lit by candlelight.
Candlelight.
For no reason at all.
Candlelight, but not even real candles. It's like those little tea light candles.
Yeah.
that have like no light.
Yeah, which the thing's just like walking over it and just like, blowing it out.
Yeah, which we found out later on that she put in like 1 million candles in the house, and the candles don't do shit.
Yeah.
Because it just like blows out the candles as it's
like,
walking. It's like, here's a novel idea. Why don't you turn on the lights?
Yeah, turn on the light bulbs that you're in your house. You pay your electric bill.
Yeah, it makes no sense. But not only that, like, that could be explained by a crazy person who's trying to lure the creature in.
Yeah.
Because she wants to kill it.
Yeah, that's her whole goal.
Because she actually uses Sadie as bait at one point.
Yeah.
But the same thing's true at the psychiatrist's house.
Yeah.
Nobody turns on the lights, ever.
Like, the one character, like the daughter character's playing PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like, this little kid.
So the power's on.
Yeah, the power's on. She's playing the game. But she's sitting in total darkness.
She's sitting in total darkness even though she knows the boogeyman is stalking her.
Yeah. And she knows it's going around.
And
like,
she's trying to defeat it by the light of the video game.
Yeah, Leia is
yeah, the actress that plays her is Vivian Lyra Blair, who played Princess Leia in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
And I guess there's a couple scenes where they go to the school. Like, the daughter character, like the older daughter is going to, like, her high school.
Yeah.
She goes to a public bathroom, which are fairly well lit because people don't want to get, like, attacked in the bathroom or something. Like, it's like a public building.
Yeah.
There was probably one light, and that was probably come from the hallway.
Yeah.
That's how dark it was. I was like, what is going on?
Like, I work with kids in, like, a preschool setting. And we're in the basement of a rundown church. Mm-hmm. And the bathroom in there has, like, triple the lighting.
Yeah. Triple bloom lighting that's, like, as powerful as the sun, probably.
Yeah, it's like, that's this rundown, rickety old church.
Yeah.
And it's got way better lighting than this public school.
Yeah. All this public schools, like, budget got cut.
Yeah, everybody's funding... All the budgetary cuts go directly to the electric bill.
Yeah, electric bill's gone.
Yeah, because no one can pay their power, including the psychiatrist.
It's like, turn your lights on. Come on.
Nobody has lights. Like, that is a damning complaint about this movie. Because it's stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, no one turns their lights on. Like, turn the light switch on.
Yeah, this creature is entirely defeated by light. Like, it's like the movie Lights Out.
Yeah.
Where the creature moved in the darkness. And in that movie, I think it blew out the power or something. Like, it was purposely... And for some reason, the lights don't work in this movie sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of like... It didn't make any sense. It's hard to tell if the boogeyman itself can, like, just shut the power off.
The Demogorgon could.
Yeah. Or it couldn't do it. It didn't make any sense. Because there's points where she's, like, turned the lights on. Like, in the basement.
Yeah.
She goes up to where, like, the dress was at.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess there's a scene... She must have, like... The monster must have, like, turned himself into, like, that lady, like her mother at one point, because they flashed really quickly in that scene.
Which looked like it again.
Yeah, and then he turned, like, the lights on.
Yeah.
But there's points where they turn the lights on, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work at all.
It doesn't make any sense.
I wonder if there was a deleted scene and it was causing the power to flicker and people were like, this is too much like the Demogorgon.
Probably.
They were trying to cut some stuff to avoid Stranger Things
I'm sure.
rip-off comparisons. They also did that with the Weeping Angels in Doctor Who. Which are like this really creepy creature. Mm-hmm. People haven't seen Doctor Who. There's one part where their thing is literally the lights out plot. Where they can only move when you're not looking at them. And when you look directly at them, they're like frozen like a statue.
Oh, so you kind of like, if you look directly, they just can't move.
Right. If you look right at them, they can't move. But the second you blink, they
attack
move.
You.
And they move like lightning fast.
Oh, okay. So you're like, you can't blink or do anything.
Right. And there's this one scene in, I think, the original episode they were in, one of David Tennant's episodes of Doctor Who, where the guy's looking directly at it, but it stopped and there's like a light bulb above them, and it's pointing at the light bulb, and as it's pointing at the light bulb starts to flicker and then goes out because it has some kind of energy field. And I feel like this thing probably has that ability, but it's never... like specified.
Yeah, specified or explained or anything.
Nothing's explained about this thing.
Because you can go like, because she goes to like the crazy lady's house.
Yeah.
She literally has like spotlights in the house. Because like, obviously there's power there because the spotlights are running.
Yeah, that's the thing too.
Yeah.
I think you pointed out in the theater that It seems like lights that you plug into the wall work,
yeah,
but the actual like indoor electricity doesn't seem to work.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's weird. It doesn't make sense.
Because you have the spotlight, so you could turn it, and it was obviously didn't turn the lights off. It ran away because because the light was like trying to go right on top of it.
Yeah, but it was like if it was connected by a cord, it would work.
Yeah, it would work.
But if it's like the light switch with the interior, like the wiring in the house doesn't work.
Yeah,
but the outlets work,
which they don't explain it, or it's like it doesn't even like hint at what the powers are for this monster.
No, it's like they could have explained that somehow. Like I'm not an electrician, so don't quote me on this. But possibly it had something like the power was causing the creature was somehow able to damage the internal wiring.
Oh yeah.
But because the way a cord protects the wires or something like that, it made it a little bit stronger,
harder to do or something.
Yeah, something like that. They just any explanation.
Yeah, be like, oh, why is our power? Like someone could have just had like a line like, why is our power not working or something?
Right.
Yeah. Or they could be like, oh, we're working on the electricity or something.
Or have things that are like battery powered.
Oh yeah.
Which this isn't though. It's stuff plugged into the wall.
Yeah, it's plugged into the wall.
So like I'm just saying like a correction for the film.
Yeah.
Like instead of walking around with your stupid little tea candle lights, why didn't you have a flashlight?
Yeah, I know. Go to Home Depot and buy a mag light or something.
Yeah, right. You can get a really powerful flashlight for not that expensive.
It's like that one girl had like the best idea. Wrap all the light bulbs around you and walk around.
Yeah, until she trips over something.
Yeah, until she trips over something. But tethered to the wall. But
your cell phone has a better light
than
those candles do. Like,
as long as you get it to where you point the light toward it can't get towards you because it runs away.
Yeah.
So it was like...
It was a dumb plot hole.
And there was another parts where they were like... The people walk into closets and stuff. Obviously they have lights in there. Because they're like walk-in closets. Yeah. They just walk in when it's like dark. It's like, just turn your lights on. You're getting your clothes for the day.
None of these people understand how electricity works. Like I feel like this movie would have made so much more sense if it was like an Amish community.
Yeah.
Or it was set in like 1900. Yeah. Or something like that. Like
not modern day.
But in the modern day, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
It had to be set in a place that doesn't have power. Or your house where the power goes out for no reason
like,
at all.
Oh, I'm working on the electricity. yeah, my house. For no, it's like, it's just that sunny day, I guess. Sunny, mild day.
Yeah, like last week, nothing was happening. There was no storm, nothing, and the power just goes out 3 times.
Yeah, for no reason.
Like, if it happened here, it might be terrifying.
Yeah.
But a normal house that has running electricity.
Yes.
Then, it's like, it's a stupid... It's a plot hole.
It's a very big plot hole. That's
no
like,
sense.
They could have explained it a little better. Or at least put a line. All you got to do is one throwaway line and say, "Oh, we're working on the electricity," or "The electricity's been messing up," or something. It's like the electricity's been acting up, so that's why our power isn't working, or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, having said that, this is not a terrible film.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
It's a pretty decent standard horror film. Like if you like Lights Out, like we mentioned already. I wouldn't put it on the level of like something like Mama, but it does have the feel of a modern horror movie. One thing I do have an issue with is I'm shocked by the budget of this film.
What was the budget?
How much do you think this movie cost? Based on the type of films we've seen, Smile, those sort of things. Evil Dead Rise.
I probably would say because of the CGI. Yeah. Even though it's hard to see. I'd probably say 60,000 or 60 million. I mean.
Okay, well you put it way over, but
is it? Okay.
Yeah, it was 35 million.
Oh, okay, yeah, 'cause I couldn't tell because they had a lot. There was CGI moments with the monster, and I know CGI can just destroy budgets.
Skyrocket the price. I was shocked by that because like we've seen horror movies that also have CGI that was about as good. Yeah, and they cost like 5-10 million. Yeah, Evil Dead Rise, which was a much more complicated film than this. Yeah. Was only a $16 million budget, I think. It was half this.
Oh, yeah, that is right. Because this had a lot... That had a lot of CGI in it, too. Because the very final part was CGI.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed to have a lot of practical effects as well.
Yeah.
But this...
Maybe that might have been the way to do it.
The fact that this costs twice as much as Evil Dead Rise is like, surprising to me.
Yeah.
Like, Evil Dead Rise was a much more complex film than this.
Yeah.
This was like a very simple premise.
Yeah, it's a very simple. This movie had a very simple premise.
And they couldn't turn on the lights. So,
yeah, they couldn't. They didn't pay an electric bill, so
they didn't have to focus that much on the special effects. You can't even see most of it.
Yeah, because literally when you see the monster, I don't think there's probably one scene at the very end where you can actually kind of see the monster, but every other part you cannot see it except the eyeballs.
Yeah, the eyes are creepy though.
Yeah, that's like that weird lighting.
Yeah,
because it's like almost like Cat when you look outside when it's like trying to lighten its eyeballs.
But they're real small.
Yeah,
and
it's like really creepy looking.
It's so creepy because it doesn't quite look like anything.
Yeah,
like you can't tell if it's just there's no light to reflect off of anything, but like it could be the light reflecting on something.
Yeah,
or
which there was a scene where the daughter was playing the PlayStation.
Yeah,
and of course since you're sitting in the dark, you see behind it, but it's like the light reflecting off some like cupboard.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the monster, but then the monster was on the other side.
Yeah, and then it showed up. Yeah, it has some effective jump scares, if that's your thing. It has a social commentary about trauma and that sort of
maybe
thing.
Getting help for trauma.
Right. Like any good horror movie, it has some commentary. But it's pretty standard fare for like a modern horror movie. It feels like a Blumhouse thing. It feels like one of those.
Yeah.
I do agree that this was good in theaters. Yeah. Because initially this was supposed to be a direct-to-Hulu film.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would have been as effective on Hulu.
And actually, that one reason why I would think this works well in the theater, but I don't know if this is the sound design or just our theater. But
yeah, we should talk about this.
That was like that theater was more creepy than the movie.
Yeah,
because that was like strange in that place.
So, if anybody else watching this saw this movie, let us know what your theater experience was like, because I'm really curious about this. I did read a review where somebody talked about the outstanding part of the film was the sound design. Yeah. So which makes me believe that maybe this is just part of the film itself. But we were the only ones in the theater. We checked multiple times. Yeah. And I could have sworn there was somebody in the back right of the theater. Like, there was rustling going on back there that didn't sound like it was in the film. Yeah. It sounded like at one point like a popcorn bag rustling.
And it sounded like it was talking too. Yeah. It was really weird.
Like when you'd hear voices and it sounded like it was like right behind you.
Yeah, it was strange.
And there was parts where the creature was moving and it sounded like it was crawling down the aisle.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was super creepy. And my guess is that unless some douchebag was back there like messing with us and hiding, my guess would be that it had something to do with the sound design. Yeah. Unless that theater actually was haunted.
Because that was creepy. Because normally we watch a lot of theater at the local theater here. Yeah. It doesn't normally ever have that.
No, I've never felt that.
Yeah, we've had times when we went there by ourselves.
A lot of times we go by ourselves.
Yeah, because there's no one in the theater watching it. And this one was like, that was like some weird stuff.
That was weird. Both of us were turning our heads and looking at the same time. So it wasn't like just one of us.
Yeah, because normally if we're watching it by ourselves, we'll actually kind of talk in the theater because it's by ourselves.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, we'll just talk about the movie or something.
Yeah.
But it sounded like someone was behind us, so I was like, is someone in here?
Yeah, every time we talk, there would be like a rustling sound, and we'd turn our heads back, and nothing's back there.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was really creepy. And then given the content of this film.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on in here?
It's like there's some entity in the dark.
Yeah.
So my guess is that was something with the sound design.
Yeah.
Unless people saw this movie and are saying that wasn't.
Yeah, and then I'll be like, okay.
Then I'll be even more creeped out.
Yeah, I'll be like, what's going on?
But my guess was there was something with the layering in the sound design, and it'd be interesting to see if that experience holds true with the home video release, or if they remove that extra layer that was in theaters.
Actually, that would be a good way to get some people into the theaters.
Yeah.
Have specific things like that where you have like different experience.
Well, they used to do stuff like that like way back in like the 50s and 60s and stuff. There's that one guy, it was something Castle or something, where William Castle or somebody like that, his movies would have like a 4D type experience where they would like, you can't do this because back then movies were more like limited in release. But you would have people that would be like hired to like run through the theater and then like scare people and do stuff like that. And like it's almost like a haunted house experience or something. Yeah. Like that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
To do that. And they do have like 4D movie theaters in like Asia and stuff.
I know when my brother went to go watch Maverick.
Yeah.
They have like the seats that move with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He watched it when he almost got sick because it's moving with like the jets and stuff. So
getting G's.
Yeah, getting them G's.
While you're sitting there in the theater
drinking that G fuel, getting them G's.
That G fuel. Yeah, that would be cool.
And I guess that may be the way to do it. I mean, you just add stuff like that.
Well, I know when like Kayako versus Sadako came out in Japan, there was like some kind of weird movie experience for that, but I'm not sure what the details are for that. So maybe they do like horror type stuff like that in Asia, but that would be pretty cool here.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that's what that was, because if
that
not, that's
creepy.
creepy.
That was really weird. I was like, I've never had that happen in a theater before, so I was like, that is pretty creepy.
Yeah, I would say that was something, and I don't know if that was intentional, if that's something they added for the theatrical release.
Yeah.
Because if that's something they did, that would definitely not carry in a Hulu release.
Yeah, Hulu. That would not work in a Hulu release at all.
No.
Which is kind of weird. Hulu makes some decent movies, but they never bring it out to the theater. But then you have movies that are in the theater, and it's like they don't put on a Hulu, and it's like strange.
There's a funny thing here about the release that I'm reading.
Mm-hmm.
And so guys talking about, I guess one of the guys is talking about, maybe it was the director. Yeah, it was the director talking about having email correspondence with Stephen King. And he sent us a lovely almost essay about how much he enjoyed the movie. And then the next day I wake up and there's an email in my inbox from Stephen King, and he said he's still thinking about the movie. He said a few more nice things, and the nicest thing that he said was, they'd be fucking stupid to release this on streaming and not in cinemas.
Great.
I agree with King.
Yeah, I agree with King.
And even though I feel like this film is a little mediocre, I'm not raving about it as much as Stephen King.
Yeah.
But I do feel it needs to be in theaters, and I hope it makes its money. I think it will. It says it made about $20 million opening weekend.
Oh, did it?
On a $35 million budget. So it could very likely.
That's like, is that domestic?
Probably.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe world, I don't know. But either way.
Because knowing our theater, we didn't have anyone in there, so.
Well, nobody's ever in our theater.
It's kind of like. Okay. It's kind of hard to judge sometimes.
Right.
But, I gotta say, this movie was. I mean, it wasn't the best movie in the world, but.
Nah, I give it like a 6.
Yeah, that's
6.5.
That's probably a fair rating.
It was above average.
Yeah, it wasn't like it had pretty decent. It was a little creepy with the thing on
it. Has some very creepy stuff. It has great sound design, unless our theater is just haunted. I don't know. The creature was kind of interesting, but the story's okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
The lighting stuff is stupid.
Yeah, that's a big plot hole.
The big plot hole was the fact nobody knows how to turn the light switch on.
And some of the characters were kind of like insufferable.
Yeah.
Like the older daughter, like the older daughter's like friends.
Stupid friends. Yeah.
The one friend was like an asshole.
Oh yeah, she like beats her up because her mom died.
yeah. She's like, my dad came back from the supermarket. He went to go get cigarettes and milk a year ago. And I
don't know what she's complaining about.
Like, what are you talking about?
I haven't seen my dad in a whole year.
And then she like hits her yogurt or something. I don't know what that thing in the beginning was.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
I still
she like goes to. At the very beginning, it's like her first day back after her mom died.
Yeah.
She opens up a locker and there's like a brown bag in there, and it's got like old yogurt or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what the heck that was.
And then that girl comes around and is like, she makes like a joke or something, and she like.
They get into a fight and she like punches her.
Yeah.
And then breaks the bag open with the yogurt or whatever that is all over her mom's dress that she's wearing.
Yeah, because she's wearing a dress because she's like trying to remember her mom and stuff.
Yeah. Because she was looked like a clothing designer or something, because she had all these dresses everywhere.
And then later on in the film, like, because she's like, maybe we should have like a sleepover or something, because that way kind of get back into normalcy.
Well, she has one like best friend, I think her name's Bethany.
Yeah.
And she wants to hang out with her, but then Bethany's like, oh, well, I'll invite all my douchebag friends.
Yeah, it's like they're your friends as well, which like, I don't think they are. Because the one is like just been antagonizing you this whole time.
Like, you can't force your friend circle on somebody else.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, and then she's like, she's like, show me where that guy killed himself at.
Yeah.
And then she goes over there. It's like, oh, this is where it's at. And then she locks her into the closet.
Yeah, they shove her into the closet where Lester killed himself.
Yeah.
And then the boogeyman's in there with her.
Yeah. Because the lights aren't working, and she's trying to like open the door, and they're like holding it. I'm sure they're like holding it shut.
Yeah, because the boogeyman can just like teleport between darkness.
Yeah.
Which is exactly like the Demogorgon.
Yeah. It's
literally the Demogorgon.
It's like the going between worlds and stuff.
Yeah.
Which actually, that's kind of...
Because it goes between the two houses all the time.
Yeah, because it's like... Yeah, pretty much.
It's wherever those vines are is a portal. It's literally the Demogorgon.
Because you see, like... Yeah, because after Lester dies, there's like these weird shadow vines that show up.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, they're going between the spots.
Yeah. It's literally the Demogorgon.
Yeah, because
I don't think any of that stuff's in the original short story.
Yeah, probably not.
Because the short story doesn't go into a whole lot of detail about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The movie's good, but it's also possibly a ripoff.
Yeah, probably a big ripoff of Stranger Things, which I wonder if maybe Stranger Things probably got some ideas from that. Well,
Stranger Things for sure is inspired by Stephen King. Yeah. But, like, this seems to be... Now, the writing crew on this is surprising. Because, like, this movie's not outstanding in the writing department. Mm-hmm. But it was written by one of the co-writers of Black Swan, which is an excellent film.
That's surprising.
And also Scott Beck and Brian Woods, who co-wrote A Quiet Place.
They co-wrote A Quiet Place?
Yeah. So that the Quiet Place writer... Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
So I was just going to say Quiet Place is an excellent film, but there is one giant plot hole in The Quiet Place. So just like how this film is a giant plot hole because nobody will turn on the damn light.
Yeah.
Quiet Place is a setting where you can't make any noise. So our primary protagonist, a woman of science, decides to get pregnant and have a kid.
Yeah, I know.
How are you going to keep the baby quiet?
Yeah, I know.
So maybe there's a theme here where these writers like to create stupid scenarios that make everything scarier.
Yes. For that tension.
Yeah, they build tension by creating a dumb scenario that nobody would fall into.
No normal person would do.
Yeah, so there's your problem.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they have pretty good pedigree.
Yeah, that is surprising. The writing staff is surprising on that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that's who they were.
I didn't either until now.
That's very surprising.
Because those are much better films than this. Both of them are.
Yeah.
But this isn't terrible. Yeah. Like, it sounds like we're, like, shitting all over it. But
yeah, it's not a terrible movie. It's like, I didn't think I wasted my money.
No, it's worth money. Yeah, it's worth going to the theater to see. One thing, I guess, before we close out is I do hope this makes money because I really want Hulu movies to go to theaters.
Yeah, because... Like I say, for some reason, those Hulu movies that go to Hulu are, like, good.
Some of them have been quite good. The Hellraiser movie was a little bit mixed, but from what I heard was it was one of the better Hellraiser films after the original, which, I mean, it's not saying a lot, but... the new one, I know a lot of people did like it. Mm-hmm. A lot of people didn't like it either, but it seemed like it was good enough to go to theaters. The one I'm pissed about was Prey.
Yeah. Which that was a big one. A lot of people that watched it like this should have been in theaters.
Prey was excellent. It was, if you looked at our like best films of 2022, I think I put it at like number 3 or something, or 2 or something like that. I had it really high up on the list. Yeah, that's the best Predator movie, in my opinion, since the first one.
That's pretty good.
Well, yeah, because I like Predator 2 and I also like Predators.
Yeah.
So I thought this was better than both, and it's like criminal that it's not in theaters and doesn't have a Blu-ray release.
Because it's a Disney thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wonder if this will get a Blu-ray release because it was in theaters. It
probably will.
Yeah. So now...
Unless it goes into the vault.
Yeah. So now I'm more pissed about that. And then the other movie, as far as I know, the Alien movie is still going direct to Hulu, which is stupid.
Yeah, Aliens and...
Because that's...
I don't know how I feel about that.
Fede Alvarez is directing that, who's the director of the 2013 Evil Dead.
That could be good.
So that could be really good.
Because his style, at least if it's supposed to be kind of like the 2013 style, could work as an Alien movie.
Well, yeah, because it's like tension building.
Yeah.
It probably is going to feel more like Alien than Aliens.
Yeah, hopefully, because Alien was like That's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, like tension horror type setup. Because Alien at its core is like a slasher film.
Yeah, because the alien is like hiding in corners and stuff and like killing people.
Right. It's kind of an elevated horror film.
A24.
A24. This is created by 21 Laps. Which I feel like in itself is a ripoff of A24.
Yeah, it's like elevated horror generic version.
This wasn't elevated horror. This was just
this was just horror.
So that's our review, I think, for The Boogeyman.
Yes.
Unless there's anything else you want to add.
I think we pretty much got all the points, so.
All right, good. So I think we'd both say we'd recommend checking it out.
Yeah, like I said, it didn't feel like we wasted our money, if that's anything.
No.
Yeah, if that's anything.
It's not groundbreaking, but it's a good time.
Yeah.
So if you like this video, leave a like, consider subscribing for more content like this in the future, and you too could feel the strength welling within. See ya.
See ya.